Jill Consulting Group, and you're here for Reimagining Field Service in today's business environment. All participants are in listen-only mode during the webinar, but we do encourage you to use the chat feature to communicate with us, and also the questions section to ask us any questions throughout the webinar. Please don't feel like you have to wait till the end for the dedicated Q&A. You can ping us at any time, and we will get back to you at the appropriate time or towards the end of the presentation. At the end of the webinar, once you end your session, you'll be asked to participate in a very brief survey, just letting us know how we did. So please take that brief survey. We'd love to get your feedback. And also a recording of the webinar will be emailed to everyone after the session's over. I just want to reiterate, if you have a specific question that you'd like to pose to the group, since you're in listen-only mode, you'd have to type it in, and you can click on that question bubble right there, and we'll be able to interact with you in that manner. Our agenda for today, we'll do quick team introductions, then we'll go on to industry trends, then we'll get to our much awaited field service lightning demo and end with a dedicated Q&A. So let's just introduce myself. I'm Christina Galenti. I'm the Success Manager with Jolt Consulting Group. And with me today, I have three wonderful colleagues, Ivan, Debbie, and Jorge. I'm calling in from New York State, and I'll go ahead and let the rest of the group introduce themselves.
Thank you, Christina. Again, this is Ivan Moore. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Jolt Consulting. Thank you to everyone who has joined us today. Good afternoon, good morning, depending upon the time zone that you're in. Look forward to the discussion. As a quick bio, I've been with Jolt nearly 8 years now, and prior to that, ran sales and service for the US and Japan for a manufacturing company.
Hello, everyone. I'm Debbie Berry. I'm a solution architect here at Jolt Consulting Group. I am also calling in from upstate New York, just outside of Saratoga Springs, New York. I have been with Jolt for, I believe I just had my 7th anniversary. Been working in the Saleforce and field service lightning space for a number of years. Have a number of certifications, including Service Cloud and Field Service Lightning, and have also been asked by Saleforce to join their product advisory group for Field Service Lightning. So looking forward to sharing with you a little bit later a glimpse of what Field Service Lightning can do.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Jorge Estrada. I am new to Jolt, but I've been in the consulting and software space for about 10 years now, based out of Marblehead, Massachusetts, outside of Boston. And I work daily with clients that solve some of the issues that you're going to be seeing today. So very excited to see what we have in store.
Great, thank you, everyone. I'm going to turn the presentation over to Ivan.
Perfect. Thank you, Christina. So before we jump in here, what I'd like to do is maybe start by understanding the perspective of the folks in the audience today and kind of what they're experiencing in their own company. So I'd just like to start with a brief poll. And Christina, if you could surface that poll, that'd be fantastic. So everyone should be seeing that on their screens. And it's really over the last year or two, how have your customer expectations changed for your organization service delivery? And have they increased? Have they stayed about the same, or have they decreased? So if you could just quickly select what you're seeing with your company. We'll wait a few seconds here for the poll to be complete. Okay, a few seconds more here. Okay, Christine, do we have the results?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Okay. It's a slam dunk, to use a bad sports analogy. It's somewhat what I would have expected for sure, and it's in complete alignment with what we're seeing in the marketplace. So thank you for that. Very insightful, and I think kind of some of the information, some of the slides that I'll discuss very early in the webinar here are going to resonate with you. So if we scroll then back, Christina, thank you. Next slide. So just really some key takeaways for today, and there's 3 of them. One is you have just validated what you're experiencing in your own companies. You validated what we are certainly seeing on the consulting side of the business, is that you're facing increasing customer expectations, increasing customer demands and pressures. We at Jolt have a firm belief that companies that excel and provide a superior customer experience and service experience ultimately are going to be the winners in the race, right? They're going to differentiate them from competition. And lastly, as you'll see in the demonstration aspect of our webinar today, is that Saleforce and Field Service Lightning are fantastic to enable companies to provide that superior customer experience. So where does our perspective come from? Just want to kind of orientate the audience here. Regardless of all of our customer engagement types, the services that they provide, the clients, etc., our focus is laser-like on helping our customers better engage with their customers. Again, going back to that firm belief that we think that those companies are going to be the winners in the marketplace. And ultimately, where our clients derive value from Jolt is from the intersection of our sales and service operational and our technology experience. I alluded to my kind of background and resume. It's not unique. There are many others in the Jolt team that have the sales and service leadership experience at the global level. In fact, about 1/3 of our revenues come from management consulting services to these companies: strategy, org design, technology roadmaps, business process redesign, etc. From a technology perspective, we have been fortunate enough to be recognized by Saleforce as into their top 2% of their partners in the field service solution. Only one of 22 partners globally. Debbie alluded that she has been asked to participate on Jolt's behalf on Saleforce's product advisory board. So again, it's this combination that we bring to bear on any of our engagements with improving that customer experience. And I think some of the data that I'm going to present over the next couple of slides are going to kind of reinforce and validate that. One more, please. So I'm going to show 2 slides around some of the industry trends that we are seeing. The first is what we're kind of terming the age of the customer. And I would, I think if we all think about our personal experiences, our personal lives, we probably acknowledge that even our expectations for how we want to interact with companies has increased, right, as has our customers. We have more information at our fingertips. The Amazons and the Ubers have raised the bar for all expectations, right? We want that same experience, whether we're visiting a medical facility or we're having someone come to our home to service our furnace, right? The bar has been raised. And there's certainly been a lot of research done in the space around what that means and trends. There's a number on this slide. I'm just going to call out a couple. For example, this 80%. The research has shown that 80% of customers state that the experience a company provides is as important as the products and services. So they're viewing companies much more than the widget or the service that is providing, but the complete customer experience that company provides. That kind of translates, if you look at the left-hand side, the 67%, those percent of customers are actually willing to pay more for a better experience. They will pay more than the competition at a lower price because they're getting a better experience. And you kind of factor all these in, and there's been a fairly significant shift that we're seeing, and again, the research supports it, in this 90% number. and that is where 9 out of 10 organizations expect to compete in the future primarily on the customer experience, and that the customer experience will overtake price and product and all these other factors as the #1 reason why they're going to be competitive around their own brand. So again, it really kind of supports our core belief, and we have certainly seen this in the customers that we engage with for sure. You're going to see a number of examples of how in the FSL demo of how the solution improves the customer experience. You're going to see the ease at which you can book a customer appointment. You can ensure the right field technician with the right skill set and the right parts is selected and deployed to increase the first time fix rate. The technician having access to all the relevant customer and service data at their fingertips. Again, all with the intent to improve that customer experience. So I've talked a little bit about the trends, but what are the outputs? What are the results? Again, a lot of research done. Gonna kind of pick a couple, right? Ultimately, best in class companies are kind of defined as the top 20% in their segment. And it's pretty stark and it's pretty revealing that those companies that provide that superior customer experience and service delivery are going to reap the benefits, right? They're going to be, as an example, 4 times more likely to have a 90% or better customer retention rate. 3.5 more times more likely to see an increase in service revenue. So there's a clear correlation to providing outstanding customer service and then the financial results, the customer sticky results, et cetera. We've seen that certainly in our experience. As one example, we had one of our clients achieve a 25% increase in their customer satisfaction scores as we worked with them to upgrade their customer support and field service technology and process infrastructure. So to me, it's both anecdotally of having worked with 200 plus customers around the country, as well as the research that there's clearly going to be winners and losers in this race as they compete for that superior customer experience. And with that, again, just wanted to give you a bit of context of what we're seeing in the market, a bit of our background, and really, the bulk of the webinar is really the intent around the FSL technology, the field service lightning technology demonstration and tool.
Great, thank you, Ivan. That was very insightful. So I'm going to hand it over now to Debbie to complete the FSL demo. Before we do, I think she wanted to do a quick poll.
Yes, thank you, Christina. So before we launch into the demo, if you can throw up our next poll, we just kind of want to get a sense from those of you on the phone, how many of you are currently using mobile technology with your field technicians? So your options are going to be yes, you're currently using mobile technology, or no, but you are planning on implementing it, or no, you're not currently using mobile technology and you have no plans to implement it. So we'll give everyone a few moments to answer this poll. It looks like we've got over half of you have already responded, so give just a few more moments. Okay, Christina, everyone's voted, so let's go ahead and show them the results. Again, kind of what we were expecting, although everyone said yes, you're currently using mobile technology, we certainly expected to see the majority here. And if not, that you were probably planning. Part of the demo that we're going to go through today with Field Service Lightning is looking at the mobile app that your technicians can use out in the field to provide real-time information and have ease of access to information. So great. So I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and, oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting about this slide. We have one more quick slide before I launch right into the demo. We just kind of wanted to give you a quick overview of the flow of what we're going to talk through. So we're going to kind of show you 3 different views within Field Service Lightning. We're going to talk about, the view from the dispatcher, looking at the dispatch board or the field service tab, and kind of all the information, the wealth of knowledge that a dispatcher can have at their fingertips. We're going to look at it from the view of the technician out in the field with their mobile device. And then at the end, we're going to even touch on what the service executive or the managers can see from a dashboard view to have quick, easy access into kind of the pulse of what's going on within the service organization. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and take the screen from Christina. And hopefully everyone is now seeing my view into Salesforce.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to take hopefully about 30 minutes to walk you through Field Service Lightning. As we're going through this, if you have any questions, please feel free to add them into the question tab, and then we're going to answer your questions at the end. So backing up a little bit, we really want to start this demo with looking at a case that has come in from one of our customers, Donald Duck, who is at the Ducks Depot Discount Duck Apparel, who has reached into our call center and is having an issue with his installed base or his asset of a duck machine. And, when he called in, he said he's hearing this quacking sound, and a further description we had was that there's this odd quacking noise coming from the unit. So our service center has worked with him. We've tried to triage this over the phone, and we've come to the decision that, we really need to get a technician out there to see what's going on with this quacking noise and see if we can't get this resolved. So from the case, we're going to go ahead and create a work order. So right on the case, I have an easy button to go ahead and quickly create this work order. And for Field Service Lightning, the work order is kind of that envelope that's going to track all of the field activity. And then we're going to talk about service appointments, which are the specific time and resource that's going to be on site at the customer's location. So, it's going to pull the subject directly from my case that he's hearing a quacking sound, but I want to actually add a little more information to this. I now know it's actually in the main unit, and that's important information that technicians and folks in the service department are going to want to see as they're looking at this work order. And then I'm going to select a work type. Work types drive a number of things within Field Service Lightning. You'll see I have 3 different work types here with numbers underneath. And those numbers are reflecting of the default duration of a service appointment that's going to be created against this work order. So we've said that on average, when we create a service appointment for an installation, it's going to be an 8-hour service appointment. For a service call or a break fix, the duration of those service appointments by default is going to be 2 hours. And if it's a preventative maintenance or a PM, the default duration for those service appointments is 1 hour. It's just a default. I can go in and change it as needed as a dispatcher, but it's a starting point for us to work from. The other thing work types can drive, and we're going to talk about this more as we get into the dispatch board, is what skills are needed. I may have a different skill set that I need for my technician who's doing a break fix versus an install versus a preventative maintenance. I may have different parts that are required. We're going to look at the dashboards at the end and see, maybe there's a PM kit that we want to start being required every time we go out for preventative maintenance work order to make sure we have all the parts that we're going to need on the technician when he arrives so he can complete the job the first time. We may have different due dates for our internal SLAs as to when we want to make sure that these are complete. A break fix call, we may want to make sure that we're out there and we're on site in the next 2 days or 3 days or whatever our business objectives are. Whereas preventative maintenance, we're a little more flexible. We may say, we want to just make sure we get there within the next 2 weeks. And installations maybe much more customer driven based on needs that we don't have a set time frame. It's really driven based on a number of factors driven primarily from the customer. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say service, and I'm going to create my work order. And I'm actually on the phone with Donald Duck, and I want to be able to tell him when he can expect to get that technician on site. So right here from in the work order, I'm going to book the appointment. So I'm clicked my book appointment, and it's opening up, and I'm saying which service team I'm going to send, and I want to go out and look at what are my appointment slots, what's my availability. So it's gone out and it's looked at. We've created our booking windows within 2-hour time slots, but that's totally configurable, whatever works best within your business confines and objectives. And it's given me a number of options. Ideally, I may want to send someone tomorrow at either the 8, the 10, or on Friday at the 8 a.m. time slots. But I can also scroll down here and see that I have some other times available as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, and I'm going to tell Donald he's going to see someone on site at his place of business tomorrow between 8 and 10. And in the background, this is already gone and reserve that time on somebody's calendar. So I can go in and view the service appointment. And again, I can see all of the information that was on the case that automatically populated down to the work order has also automatically flowed down to the service appointment. It knows the account, it knows my contact, it knows what address I'm going to. It created the updated subject that I entered. And as I scroll down here, I can see that it's assigned it to our technician Tech C. So now I'm going to go ahead and switch hats and look at things from the perspective of the dispatcher. So I'm going to go ahead and click into the what Field Service Lightning calls the Field Service tab, or the scheduling board, or the dispatch board. But this is kind of, information central for dispatchers. So here I can see tomorrow, 8 a.m., Technician C has this scheduled to them. If I'd like, I could go ahead and just drag and drop this onto a different resource, because I know Technician A actually has a really great rapport with Donald, and I see that they're available. So I'm going to go ahead and drop it on their calendar, or I could drop it on Technician B's calendar. I can move it around however I like, because I haven't actually scheduled it out to anyone yet. It's actually giving me a little error here because it's telling me I dropped it on Technician B, and they don't have the right skill sets for this particular service appointment. So that little warning is going to tell me, oh, no, really, I should find someone else to schedule this to, and go ahead and drop it on there. Also, looking at the dispatch board, I can see a number of different colors. At a quick view, I know what's going on within today's view just by the colors. So you'll see this service appointment I just created is in orange because it's scheduled, but I haven't dispatched it yet. I have things in blue. That means I have dispatched it. I've actually said, yes, I'm sending this person. I've dispatched it to the technician. They now know that they have this appointment at this time with this customer. And I could even have an automated notification that's going out to the customer that says, you can expect to see, Technician C tomorrow at this time, as a confirmation for the appointment that I've already booked with them. Looking at today, I can see, I've got a few things going on here. Anything that's in purple is telling me they're on site and they've started work. They're in progress. If it's blue, it's still at dispatch. So I actually have a role as a technician, and hey, I have things that are assigned that are still in dispatch. I better get a hold of Debbie and find out what's going on, because she hasn't, even started the first appointment of the day. What's going on? Or I can look at Technician A. They've set that to orange, which means they can't complete their work. So they're actually sitting idle. They can't complete what they're working on today. I may want to go ahead and start assigning other work to them to to them to finish out their day today, and then find out, why was that not be able to be completed, so I can make sure that that next appointment is getting scheduled. I can also click on the technician themselves and find out all kinds of information about them. I can see what kind of skills they have associated to them. I can look at a map, and so I can actually see for this date, what is their route? The pink house is their starting location, and then I can see the order in which they're traveling. I'm going back and I'm looking at this, and I see that they're actually starting their day at an appointment down here, and then driving all the way up here, and then coming back here. I guess I didn't optimize their schedule very well because I've got them crisscrossing their paths. So in a little while, I'm going to talk about how optimization can work. And this is all driven off of Google Maps. So I can have a map view, or I can even click into satellite view. So if they're going to this location here and I want to kind of get a good street view or understanding of what kind of that area is like, I can zoom in and I can actually get that satellite view, that Google satellite view, and get, a real good sense of, is this a densely populated area that they're traveling to? Is it more rural? And get some actual information about, where they're driving to. From this, I can also look at a map of the entire service territory. So if I come up here and click, I can see all of the home bases where each technician is starting their day from. So this is Tech A down in this area. My technician's here. If I zoom in a bit more, I'll see that there's another service resource hiding behind these service appointments here. And these little green trucks are those service appointments. So that color coding that we saw on the Gantt chart that tells me what's the status carries over onto this map as well. I know I'm kind of running through a lot of these things. This tab alone, we could spend at least a whole hour just going over everything that relates to dispatching and service. So I just kind of want to give you all of the highlights. So next is looking over here at this pane, which is giving me a list of all of the service appointments that I need to work. And then up here, you'll see the policy. So this is the scheduling policy I'm using as I'm scheduling these service appointments. And you can have different scheduling policies based on different business needs and different objectives. So if I pull down my list, I can see I have a number of these. And the scheduling policy is basically made up of two pieces. One is the work rule that says, yes or no, which of these 4 resources is eligible to be assigned to that work. So do they have availability? Do they have the right skills? Maybe some of the work rules that are part of my policy. And then my objective, what am I trying to achieve? For best route, I'm trying to achieve to make sure that I'm limiting drive time and overtime. So I want to make sure I have the most efficient route that I can do. I also have a policy of emergency. For that one, I may not care about overtime. I just want to get someone there as soon as possible because our customer is in an emergency situation. I may not care if they've got the right skill sets. I just need to get someone there who can start troubleshooting while I get another technician on site. So I may have different work rules and objectives that drive determining who's the best resource to send. And then I've got my list down here. So, technician A is done for the day. I want to find another appointment that I can drag and drop onto their calendar. So I'm going to grab this appointment number 17 and add that to their calendar today, because this is something that I know I can go ahead and get done. And I can just drag it and drop it onto their calendar. And I want to let them know that I'm assigning to them right away. So I can just click on it and say, go ahead and dispatch that. And then they're going to get a notification that tells them they have a new work order that's been assigned to them. I can also come through and click a number of these over here. And instead of dragging and dropping individually, I can select them all and just click schedule. And it's going to run through each one of them and go ahead and add them to my schedule. and it's looking at my scheduling policy and determining where's the best place to put them. Now, when I'm done, if I want to make sure that it's truly optimized and that I don't have a route like I assigned to Debbie today, I could go through and I could just say optimize, and it will take everything within the range that I've set, and it'll send it off to a server and actually process and crunch all of those geolocations and the policy and come up with what is the really best schedule based on my objectives and update based on that. So you'll see I'm processing a number of these, and it's adding things to my schedule. And then when I'm done and I've created a schedule that's mapped out the way that I like, similarly like I did with selecting a number of things here, I can go ahead and say I want to dispatch this whole day, and it'll update my entire board for that day. So that is our dispatch board. So now I'm going to change hats again, and I'm going to look at things from the perspective of a technician. So being that, you know, one of the golden rules of demos is technology isn't always our friend, I'm actually using an emulator to show I happen to have an Android phone. So this is exactly what I see on my Android phone when I look at it. But in order to avoid having issues with trying to share that screen to my laptop, I'm just going to walk you through an emulator today. So this is my schedule that I had when I started the day. And if I just do a quick little refresh, I see, oops, I have another appointment that's popped up on my calendar today. So I can go ahead and I can click right into my appointment. And when that comes up, I can see all kinds of information about this particular service appointment. I can click, if I were actually on my phone, I could click, instead of just getting driving directions, any navigation app that I have on my phone, I can go ahead and have it open. So if I have Waze, I can click open in Waze, and it'll give me driving directions to the address through Waze. I actually thought when I grabbed this particular appointment, it had a contact. But if this was the one that we have assigned tomorrow to go visit Donald Duck, his contact information would appear here, and I could click on Donald's name and see his information. Also on my phone, I would be able to click on a button and call him to let him know I was on my way. If it was a mobile phone, I would be able to text message him, or I would be able to email him directly from within the FSL app. And then I also thought I had an asset assigned to this one. I could go in and see the asset as well. So I'm just going to back out for a minute and show you it from, oh, I thought this one had an asset too. Sorry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go into the service appointment that's been assigned to me for today. And again, the mobile app, just like we were talking about with dispatching, we could spend over an hour talking about all the things that we can do with a mobile app. My goal for today is to give you a very high-level view of this. So one of the first things we can do is we can go in and we can look at a number of actions that we have here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my status. And I'm going to update it from dispatch to say, I am now in progress. And as I'm doing this, it's updating, it's syncing back to the server, and it's updating that dispatch board that we were on. And our Diana dispatcher, or whoever is monitoring that dispatch board, is going to see that color change from blue to purple to know that I'm there. We've kept our statuses very simple for demonstration purposes, but one thing we have a lot of our clients do is actually even have someone track when they've started to go en route. So their status may actually be from dispatch to en route. It'll change a color where the dispatcher will know that they're already on their way. And then when they arrive, then they'll change it to in progress, and the colors will update again. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to do my work, I'm going to update, and I may even want to upload an image. So again, I'm using an emulator, so if I try to use the camera and things like that, it gets a little wonky because it goes out to use my laptop camera. But I can, within the mobile device, either select photos that I already have in my gallery, or I can just use my camera to take a picture and snap it and upload it, and it'll get saved against the work order for this particular, it'll get saved against this particular work order that I'm working on with this service appointment. So we have a number of folks who find that extremely valuable. It may be that you want to use an image and capture, you know, some damage that was done. Maybe this is something that's still under warranty and there's been some misuse, and you want to capture that damage so you have that as a record. We've also had clients who want to use this feature to capture an asset tag. So in addition to a serial number, they may, if it's, you know, that it's rental equipment, they may have additional tags or information that every time that the technician's on site, they want to make sure that they're capturing that tag and having that be some of the information that's getting recorded against the work order. Other things that we often add into the mobile app is checklists. So we may have an option where we're going to use these actions and we're going to launch into a checklist. And it's going to guide the technician through, and this is particularly helpful with preventative maintenance, that, okay, you've arrived, you're going to open your checklist. Step 1, you're going to take this action. When that's done, I may capture some information. You know, maybe I'm capturing some meter readings or fluid levels, and then I'm going on to step 2, and it's going to walk me through that entire process. When I'm done with everything that I need to do, I want to get a signature and generate a service report. So another one of those things that work type can drive is we could have different service reports based on the type of service that we're providing for this work order, for this service appointment. So the report that I generate at the end of an installation may be different than the report that I generate at the end of a service call, which would be different than the report that I want to generate at the end of preventative maintenance. So if I click Create Service Report, I can go ahead and preview my service report now, or I can get the default signature. So I want to go ahead and have my customer sign that, yes, I was here, I completed the work. I'm going to click this button. I'm going to hand it off to my client. I'm going to ask them to please type their name. Very similar to what you are used to with FedEx or UPS. Sometimes you have to give them your name, and then you do your little finger swipe to sign your name and click Save. It's captured that signature. It's got everything that I've needed. And now, you know, again, I could go ahead and preview the service report here, but when I'm saving this, it's updating it to the server and it's getting attached to the service appointment in this work order, and we have a permanent record of all of this. So I've gone ahead and generated my service report. Now I'm going to just jump back into Saleforce for a moment, and for the few minutes that we have left, walk through some of the dashboards and information that the service executives and management may want to have to make some decisions. So this is, again, just kind of a quick view of some reports that you may have. We typically have clients who build out some very robust reports based on very specific KPIs or key performance indicators that they want to track for their business. But the first thing I have here is, you know, what's our average time to resolve a case? We have a benchmark of a certain time frame we want to be within. If we're within that, we're green. If we're a little over it, we might be in that orange part. And if we're taking a really long time to close out these cases, our pin may be over in the red. And this is a quick indicator to say, where are we at? Do we need to take action? Along with a gauge like this, we may have, some buckets. So if we're within, 1 to 3 days, we're within our desired time frame. If we're in a little bit longer, we may fall in that needs improvement bucket. And we can see that of the 6 cases we closed within this month or this week, 66.67 of them are within our desired time frame, and we have 2 that fell within that needs improvement. And if I want to, dig into that deeper, I can actually view that report and drill all the way down to the specific case and know exactly what's going on. Similarly with our work orders, very important to track first time fix rate. Every time that we don't fix something the first time, we're incurring that expense of an additional truck roll. We're possibly having a very upset customer because they're having to wait to get their issue resolved. So, how many appointments are we having to schedule on work orders? So of our 40 work orders that we completed this month, 80% we fixed up with just 1 service appointment. We got it right the first time out. 20% we ended up having to have 2 visits, and that was a total of 8 of our work orders. I want to know more about that without having to drill down into this report. So I have even additional graphs here in my dashboard to give me a sense of what's going on. So, what was the reason that we needed to have additional visits? Half of them, or 4 out of those 8, were we needed additional parts. 2 of them, I just ran out of time. 2, I needed additional assistance. But half the time that we were unable to fix something the first time out was because the technician is saying they didn't have the right part. If I come over here and look at, what was the work type that was associated with those 8 work orders? Interestingly enough, the same number, 4, were preventative maintenance work orders versus installations or service. So, I can dig into those reports and find more information, but just from looking at this, it can tell me that, a lot of, half the time that we are not hitting our first time fix rate is because we don't have the right parts, and half the time that's on preventative maintenance. One of the things that we can do with that preventative maintenance work type is have parts that are required. Maybe we need to look at having a PM kit that has all of those parts that we're going to need when we go out to do service as a part that's in inventory, and that's a required part for that technician to have when they roll their truck that morning to go out and provide service. So this is something that I can look at this, I can analyze it, and then we can take a corrective action based on this information. And we have the tools in Saleforce to help support with that change. So again, I know we covered a lot and we really kind of just skimmed the surface on a number of these, but hopefully this gives you a really good sense of, some of the power that field service Lightning gives you to really drive managing your field service group in this new environment. So with that, I think I am turning it back over to Christina and Jorge.
Yes, thank you, Debbie. That was great. And as we expected, we do have several questions that were posed by the group. So Jorge, go ahead and get us started on the Q&A.
Sure. So first question for Ivan is, what are the benefits that you've seen from your customer deploying FSL?
Thank you, Jorge. Listen, great question, because ultimately, in any technology project, we want to make sure that we tie that back to the business objectives and the impact of the company. I'd say a couple of examples come to my mind. The first is one of our Jolt clients that provides home health services. So think about a company sending skilled caregivers, doctors, nurses to patients' home for patient care. And this company realized about a 30% increase in the productivity of these caregivers as a result of the FSL appointment booking and scheduling capabilities. As Debbie showed, one of the things that you can prioritize is the scheduling policies. Obviously, they wanted to minimize drive time. So you imagine, a 30% increase in the productivity drove significant company financial improvement. But, doctors and nurses are very, very expensive resources. I would say the second one that comes to mind is a manufacturing company who saw a 25% increase in their CSAT scores. We implemented Field Service Lightning and Service Cloud, which is another Saleforce solution. But really, the technology enabled this company, this manufacturing firm, to have full visibility of the customer, all of the activity that was easily accessible and ready to their team at their fingertips. And it really streamlined the interactions with the company and the customer, and improved first call resolutions, et cetera, and really kind of, again, drove up significantly the customer experience.
Excellent. Thanks, Ivan. I have a question on the checklist. Is the checklist based per unit or based on an equipment list?
Great question. It actually could be either. The checklist is actually some functionality that we've created to be able to roll out with a number of our different engagements. So we can either have the checklist be very generic, or it could be very specific to, a specific work type, or even, a specific product. So I have a work order for this particular asset that is a, product A, and that checklist is specific to that product.
Excellent. Thank you. Hopefully that answers that question. One more question. Do you have the ability to create snippets and its verbiage that they want their text to use?
I'm just trying to make sure if we could just get a little more clarification on snippets. I just want to make sure I've got the right. So, Ivan, do you have some thought? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, if whoever posed the question gave a clarification, I guess what I would say is certainly all of the information that is captured from the back office relative to the work to be performed, the customer, any special sets of things they need to do, check in at the front gate, et cetera, can all be made available to the technician on the mobile application as kind of work instructions. But also, I think this might be a question where on the service report, there's kind of standard language, if you will, that's included, and that certainly FSL has those capabilities as well.
Yeah, another thought I had, which could be lending to that, is we have a customer who, I kind of showed the very simple, change status action on the mobile, and they took that off a little bit. They took that a little bit further, where as they stepped through in each status that they changed to, there was a screen that was prompting them that make sure you do this or say that, or do these certain things before you move on to the next status. And they actually had a number of statuses that technicians would work through. And then at the end, they were in a large facility that they would actually even have a status where they set it to final cleanup and testing, that would send another notification out to the contact who may be in another area of the building to let them know that the technician's kind of wrapping up, and if they needed to touch base with them one more time to start making their way to that area.
Okay, I'm gonna unmute Vinny, who asked the question here.
Okay.
Vinny, if you can come off mute, I enabled that for you.
Yeah, it looks like he also maybe added a little more clarification. So, standard verbiage that you can predetermine so everyone's saying the same thing. So I think that kind of can go along with, that last example that I had, that, okay, I've now changed this status. It could be a checklist, but, this is, you've gotten to here, so now you need to do or say X, Y, Z.
Excellent. Thank you, Debbie and Ivan. Those are all the questions that we have.
All right, thank you very much for the questions that you posed. If you happen to think of something after the webinar is over, by all means, please feel free to contact us. I'll be sharing some contact information with you in one moment. On the screen now, you'll see several links to some articles that we've published. You can see these and a whole lot more at our website, joltconsultinggroup.com/industry-trends. We're always publishing knowledge articles, so please do visit the website. Jorge's going to also put that link in there for you in the chat feature, so if you wanted to check that out after the webinar, you can certainly do so. As a thank you for joining us today, we'd like to offer each of you a free 1-hour assessment of your service organization, or for those of you who are already leveraging Salesforce, we're offering a free health check. You can get that little bonus item by contacting Jorge. His email's up on the screen for you, and he's also going to be adding his contact information to the chat window. And that way, feel free to contact us if you have any questions that pop up after you sign out, or you want to take advantage of the offer. And we do ask that you join us for our next webinar. It'll be later in July, and we'll have more details on that event as well. And we just want to wrap up here and quickly thank all the panelists for participating today. And on behalf of myself and the team here, we'd like to thank all of you for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know everyone's busy, and we're happy that you joined us today. So we do hope to see you at the next webinar at the end of July, when summer is in full swing. And don't forget, upon leaving the webinar today, you'll be asked to complete a quick survey, just letting us know how we did. We'd love to hear your feedback. Without further ado, you can have the rest of your day back, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.